Welcome to The Explainer. We live in a world that's just drowning in data. So, how do we decide what's safe and what's not? Today, we're diving into risk based thinking, a really powerful idea that's less about ticking boxes and more about looking ahead. It's all about spotting trouble before it even happens. Think about it. We're surrounded by all this tech that's supposed to make our lives better, right? But that raises a really important question. Where is the line? When does something that's meant to be helpful cross over and actually become harmful? Okay, let's take a mental health app, for example. It's designed to track your mood, your daily habits, maybe even your location, all with the goal of helping you. But in doing that, it's collecting some of the most sensitive data imaginable. And if that data gets out or gets misused, the potential for real serious harm is just massive. So, to get a handle on a problem this big, we've got to make sure we're all on the same page. And that really starts with rethinking what we even mean by the word risk in this digital age. You see, for the longest time, when a business talked about risk, they were really just talking about themselves. They were worried about things like getting hit with fines, facing a lawsuit, or losing money. It was all about protecting the company. But here's the game changer. Modern privacy laws, like the GDPR, they completely flip that script. The focus is no longer on the organization, it's on people. Risk is now defined as the potential for harm to individuals. We're talking about things like discrimination, identity theft, or even just severe emotional distress. The whole point is to protect people. Okay, so how on earth are you supposed to navigate this new landscape where the main thing you're worried about is harm to people? Well, you bring in a co-pilot. And that co-pilot has a name. It's the Data Protection Impact Assessment, or DPIA for short. Just think of it like a pre-flight check you run before a project even gets off the ground. Its entire job is to spot potential turbulence ahead, to find, assess, and reduce risks to people before you even start processing their data. And look, it's so important to get this right. This is not just some bureaucratic hurdle you have to jump through. A DPIA is a genuine tool for responsible innovation. It's about making sure that what you're building isn't just cool or effective, but that it's also safe and respectful to the very people you're trying to help. Of course, you don't need to call in the co-pilot for every single little trip. So, what are the red flags? When is it absolutely mandatory to run this pre-flight checklist? Well, lucky for us, regulations like Europe's GDPR lay it out pretty clearly. If your project involves stuff like large-scale systematic profiling of people, or if you're processing really sensitive data like health or biometric information, or using new tech like AI, then a DPIA isn't just a good idea, it's the law. All right, so the alarm bells have gone off, the co-pilot is in the cockpit. What's the first thing they do? They turn to their main instrument panel. You can think of it like a risk dashboard that helps size up the danger. So how does this dashboard actually work? I mean, this sounds complicated, right? Well, it actually boils everything down to two really simple key questions. First up, how likely is it that something bad could happen? Are we talking about something that's almost guaranteed to happen? Or is it a total long shot, a 1 in a million chance? And then there's the second question. How severe would it be if it did happen? Is it just a minor annoyance? Or are we talking about something that could genuinely have life-altering consequences for someone? And this is where it gets really powerful. When you take those two answers, likelihood and severity, and plot them on a matrix like this one, you get a really clear picture of the overall risk. Let's go back to that mental health app. A data breach could be highly likely. And the severity? Well, with that kind of data, the potential for discrimination or distress is off the charts. That combination puts you squarely in that top right box, an unacceptable risk that has to be dealt with. Okay, so you've read the dashboard, you've assessed the risk. Now comes the big decision. What do you do next? How do you proceed from here? You've basically got three main options on the table. First, you try to fix it. You mitigate the risk by putting in safeguards like strong encryption. Option two, if the risk that's left over is pretty small, you can formally accept it, document why, and move forward. And then there's option three. If the risk is still high, no matter what you do, you have to hit the brakes and talk to the Data Protection Authority before you do anything else. And this is maybe the most important point of all. Seeing high risk on that dashboard doesn't mean stop, full stop, project canceled. It just means, whoa, okay, proceed with extreme caution. The goal here isn't to kill innovation, it's to make those risks visible so you can manage them responsibly. And this whole way of thinking isn't just some niche European thing. It's really becoming the global playbook for how to handle data responsibly, even if the local rules are a little different from place to place. I mean, just look at Europe's GDPR and India's new DPDPA side by side. Yeah, the details are different for sure. GDPR has these super clear triggers, while India's rules are still being fleshed out. But their core mission, their DNA, it is exactly the same. Stop harm from happening to people before it starts. Because at the end of the day, what this all comes down to is one simple idea: respect. The real risk here isn't just about breaking a law and getting a fine. It's about failing the very people who trusted you with their information in the first place. And once you start thinking that way, you see that this whole process, it isn't just some boring privacy function tucked away in a corner. No, it's a core strategic part of what makes a business trustworthy and successful in the modern world. So, I'll leave you with this one question to think about in your own work. In an age powered by data, isn't trust your single most valuable asset? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.